Hello, my name is Lila Farmer, here in our East African office. I came to Africa in 1974 with Campus Crusade for Christ International, first to Swaziland and then to Kenya, where I spent 9 years teaching and as a graphic artist. I returned to Africa in 2010 and partnered with Dr. Solomon Kamuyu and his wife Protasia, natives of East Africa, the founders of Solomon Home for Children International. Our mission is to evangelize, build, and equip leaders in Kenya and Tanzania. I am committed to building into the lives of teachers and children. Currently, I am building an early childhood education college and partnering with United States of America colleges. We are building a Bible college, Solomon Center for Leadership, and a church on the same compound. It is now my privilege to introduce to you Reverend Jim Krapf, a descendant of Dr. Johann Ludwig Krapf, the first European missionary to share the good news of Jesus Christ in Africa under very treacherous conditions in the 1840s, first in Ethiopia and then Kenya. In the process, Dr. Krapf lost his wife and child, who are buried in Kisuuni, Mombasa, Kenya. Jim's expedition cannot be compared with the uncle in the 1800s. Today we have modern transportation and communication systems, cars, planes, and cell phones. The following clips are narratives of Jim tracing his uncle's footsteps. Thank you for your monthly support.
This is Jim Krapf. I'm off on a great adventure. My ancestors came from Germany. My grandfather immigrated to the United States in the late 1800s, and my great-great-grand-uncle, Johann Ludwig Krapf, came to Africa in 1840s, coming first to Ethiopia and then to Kenya. And now today, on September 16th, 2016, I will be traveling with my host, Dr. Solomon Kamuyu, and his assistant, Lila Farmer. And we will be going to the areas of the tribe of the Akamba. And they were people that my great-great-grand-uncle encountered. So, we are about to go out and explore and to learn more. Well, we have traveled from Nairobi through Machakos and we have arrived at Kalamba. This is a significant place. Here, a Peter Cameron Scott was in the second phase of mission work. It was Johannes Ludwig Krapf who made the first converts here. And I am meeting their descendants. And among these are the pastor of the church here, Stanley. And your last name?
Kitati.
Kitati.
Yeah.
And behind the camera are members of his staff. Would you introduce them?
Yeah, they are my associate pastors. Here is Pastor Lucy Mukula and Pastor Dorcas Mumbu. Yeah.
So, it is a pleasure for me to be with you
Yes,
and connect the history of all of this
Yeah, pleasure too.
and rejoice that there were people of courage who brought the good news of Jesus Christ here.
Amen.
Yes. Welcome to our second day of our journey. Since we last recorded in Kalamba, we have traveled to the Mombasa Road, and as we traveled further south, we stopped at the Hunter's Restaurant for refreshments. It was a General Hunter who established this. He was a military officer in World War II, and he was a hunter. He killed many of the local wildlife to make this safe for the settling of the Akamba tribe there in that area. And then from there we went on, and that evening we had our meal at a Hindu temple. So we ate there and saw some of their worship service. And then this morning we have traveled on to Kibweze, and here we have seen the beginnings of the Presbyterian Church, with the Presbyterian Church of East Africa beginning in 1891. And so Presbyterians have been established here. We have seen the graves of those who began this. We know that there were 4. One disappeared, perhaps eaten by a lion. 2 others died of malaria, and the other moved away to be able to tell this story. So as we've gathered here, we've met some of the staff of this center, and I'd like to introduce the director, have him come forth and tell us your name and what it is you do here.
I'm Duncan Kidisia. I'm the senior instructor in the Polytechnic department, and the director she's not around. I'm the one who is now in charge.
So we continue our journey with our host, Dr. Solomon, and his assistant, Lila Farmer. I'm well taken care of. And we're getting towards sunset. But this day has reached a tremendous climax because I am meeting descendants of Chief Kiovi, who my great-great-grand-uncle, Johann Ludwig Krapf, would have met this chief. And he helped him as he made his outreach into this area. We are seated here on his land, and this woman is the wife of a grandson, and these are her grandchildren. So, after many generations, we meet again, and because of our faith, someday we'll meet in heaven as well. I want to explain a little bit about our travel experience today. We went from Kibweze to Kitui. And we traveled over roads that were similar to those that I grew up on. They were rough and dusty. But it was the best of these roads today, which were like the roads I grew up on. The difference being, I lived only 3 miles from town. So I only had to go 3 miles on such roads to get to town, and paved roads. Now today, we traveled over 100 miles on such roads, and it took us maybe 6 hours at the most. But when my great-great-grand-uncle came, that same path, that same distance, there wasn't a road, there was just a path, and it may have taken him 2 weeks to cover what we did in 6 hours. So it's been an interesting journey, and thinking back on what struggles he went through to share the good news of Jesus Christ with more people. This is day 3 of our journey, and it is a Sunday. We are in Kitui, and we are now on the grounds of the Anglican Church named in memory of Dr. Krapf. This would have been a location where he would have stayed and rested on his journey. And in this area, he would have connected with Chief Kiovi, and they would have traveled together to Mount Kenya. And there was, along the way, an encounter with a tribal raid. And at that time, Chief Kiovi was killed, and Dr. Krapf then returned to Mombasa. But we are here today worshiping with people whose background would take them to the influence of Dr. Krapf. This is September 30th, the first day of our second phase of exploration. Today we've come from Nairobi and we're on our way to Mombasa. We are currently at the Voi Wildlife Lodge. And we are seeing here, as we're eating a beautiful lunch, some of the wildlife that Dr. Krapf would have seen as well. We've seen elephants, zebras, Cape buffalo, and warthogs, and various types of antelope. And I'm sure those were all animals that Dr. Krapf had seen as well. Tomorrow, as we move on to Mombasa and Rabai, we'll learn more of his history and his work in those areas.
This is a product. All this development here is a product of Krapf. Because when he came, the people here were living inside the forest. The forest is called Kaya. Shrine is a holy forest.
And I mentioned that in my book.
So they were living there. One of the reasons they were living there, the Mijikendas, was because of security. Because the 9 tribes in the coast, they are called Kayas. So one of them is the rabbis. And they stayed in the Kaya. And there were people like Maasais and the Kambas who would come to attack them. So for security reasons, they lived there.
Okay.
So when Krapf came, he wanted to go to the Kaya to stay there. But they told him, no, you can't, because you are European, you are white. Okay? You don't understand what you are brought.
Yeah.
So she was brought here, which is now called Rabbi Mpia. That's how it became new rabbi. But the old rabbi was inside the Kaya, and then later on we also moved out now out of the Kaya. People are staying here. The Kaya is still there. Then came in, but even the Methodists, whatever, they passed through here. So if you talk of Christianity, if you talk of civilization, modern civilization in Kenya, in East Africa, this is the beginning. Before there were Kambas, before those people you went to, before the Kikuyus knew how to worship, it has started. It's very interesting, but if it was possible, Daktari, we could package that. It could be packaged. That has been my idea. You package, because people don't know. They actually don't even know. I mean, okay, we are backward in terms of development, like those people are ahead. But we are actually the originators. When the people who read the Bible first, the Bible first translation was done here by Krapf.
Yes.
And those Kambas, they didn't know God.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now if we could package that, like they have done it in Israel, now people could make a pilgrimage here. And trace how Christianity came, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we could develop what you call ecotourism.
Now, Dr.
That is my...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you just hint what is happening.
Yeah.
Our organization, Solomon Center for Leadership, we promote leadership.
Yeah.
My desire is exactly to do that.
Yeah.
Is to package
Correct.
and rewrite straight with the help of the people here. We put it together.
Yeah.
And then it's released,
very
because the
very-
school system
Yeah.
teaches a little bit, but since we were colonized by the British and Krapf was a German, is there a connection that why Krapf is silent? And when you go Revman in Tanzania, Revman is known, but we don't talk very much about Krapf.
yeah.
Is there? Can you comment on that one?
I really don't know, but you know, Krapf was German,
Yeah.
but he was sponsored by the British.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was he's a German Lutheran. All right? Comes to Church Missionary Society under the British. So he was kind of, what do you call?
It's ours, it's not here.
Yes, I think probably that's a problem. Okay?
He was an employee of the British.
Yes, of
So
the
he
church
worked
missionaries.
faithful to the British.
Okay. I would take,
Even the
I would-
Lutheran church is
Okay.
behind.
Okay.
So that you find that the Anglican or the Church Missionary Society, moved ahead. But those are areas that can be My worry is that a lot of us don't know that history.
That's correct. That's
And
correct.
so that's why you don't see people coming here. Otherwise, there should be thousands of people every day coming to learn the history.
So you like you.
And
you-
if they come, then we improve this place. They can have a hotel, you can have something. You can, then you can learn.
Okay.
Yeah, we should.
That's a good. That's what we are planning to do. First of all, we're going to document. From here, we'll go back to German to trace his home with his help, and within 2 years, we'll release a
2
book.
years is a long time, but what's
Well,
wrong with you?
I'm just
2 months.
He has already written a 500-page book.
we've already written 500 pages, but we're just going to put it together. But because Dr. Krapf is a desire, it's my desire to make sure it's known. So 2 years, I just put a benchmark. We'll be able to do. But I'll be back again, and you, the community, help me put it together.
But you see, what we also request you, even a due plan on the long term, in the short term, so that you create that connection, the family, whatever. You can do a small thing, okay? You can establish something small, whether it's a scholarship or something, or help the church, you know, even with one chair. You say this chair has been donated by the Krapf family. Then we start connecting instead of waiting too long. And Kenya, he wants to say, I want to go. I want to go and see.
Yeah.
Then you have scored. And that's how we can raise the profile. All right.
So for the record, before you go, so which is which? Is this place the first building? The first worship place, not Kengeleni?
Oh, yes, it's this one. This is the first place.
Kengeleni was
Kengeleni
second,
was second.
and
Okay.
then Cathedral,
Cathedral was third.
Memorial.
Okay, so this is the first grounds.
Yes.
Okay, that's for the record. Okay, thank you.
Whereby they used to attend the sick people from their office. They had the tablets at the beginning, before they set up the hospitals. Then from there, it
Go ahead
brought
and live
to
it. It's already
the building of different
Means that
schools,
record is
different
talking
hospitals, like St. Luke's Kaloleni. We have a hospital in Kaloleni that is a church project that came as a result of the introduction of the modern medicine in those days. Also, another hospital in Voi started here.
Another boy, there's another.
Yeah, there's another hospital in Voi. Yeah.